Hi, it's Sarah here and welcome to my channel. In this video, I have got a huge book haul for you guys. I am literally so excited. I never thought I'd be someone to buy a bunch of books at one time. And I didn't actually buy a lot of them. A lot of them were actually free, and I will explain how. If you came from my previous video, hello. My previous video was about like book shopping on my birthday, and it was a really fun day. So here I am to show you all the books I got for my birthday. 4 of them I bought for myself from Pango Books, which is just like a used book online thing. You buy used books from people. And then 2 of those I had already read. I just loved them so much that I wanted to buy them after I read them on the Kindle app. And then I got 11 books on my birthday. Some of them I got from free little libraries, and some I bought at a used bookstore, some I bought at new bookstores. So I went to some local bookstores in the Denver area, so it was a really, really great day. So if you want to go check out the video of all the shopping and the places we went, be sure to go check that video out. Okay, so we're going to go by category, and we're going to start with the mystery thriller section of fiction books. So the first one we have here is Winter Counts. I got this one at a free little library. It's about a man who was the local enforcer on the Rosebud Indian Reservation in South Dakota. Justice is denied by the American legal system, and he is hired to deliver his own punishment. In the meantime, he has his nephew and his ex-girlfriend help him out, basically to stop from drugs coming in. They actually follow a lead to Denver, which, if you don't know, that's where I live. And they find that drug cartels are rapidly expanding. And then back on the reservation, a new tribal council initiative raises uncomfortable questions about money and power. As Virgil starts to link the pieces together, he realizes that being a Native American in the 21st century comes at an incredible cost. So this sounded like a really good book to me. I love mystery thriller books. They're one of my top favorite categories of books. So I have a few of those, and this one's one I'm very excited about. All right, next up I have 3 Nancy Drew books. So if you've never heard of Nancy Drew, it is a young adult mystery series. Nancy Drew is a detective, and she is, I'm trying to even remember now. I read them when I was so young. She's either to me, it felt like she was such a big adult, but she actually could just have been in her older teens or young 20s. I feel like she's in her 20s, but I'm not positive. And she lives with her dad, and her dad is a detective, and so she has also learned from him basically to become a detective, and she does a lot of different mysteries. They have, I think, according to one of these books, I think they have 50 something books. It says it somewhere. According to this, they have 53 books. So I used to read these with my dad when I was younger. He used to read them to me before bed, and it was just a really special thing. And then my sisters and I, we played the Nancy Drew games. I actually played some with my dad when I was younger, and then throughout time, literally up until the last couple years, my sisters and I have played all of the Nancy Drew games together. And so we've played all the games that have come out. They are just so meaningful to me, and I am so excited to start collecting these books. So I found some at a used library. So I have 8, 14, and 34. So we have Nancy's Mysterious Letter, The Whispering Statue, and The Hidden Window Mystery. So these are very just fun books. I love them. They're a little under 200 pages, so really easy reads. Obviously they're for young adults, so it also is an easy read in that sense, but I'm excited to collect these over my life. Someday I might start collecting the Hardy Boys books also. So the next book that I have is The House Across the Lake by Riley Sager. This is one that I bought from Pango Books, and I've had this book on my list for a little while. I'm very excited. So it's about a recently widowed actress who is trying to escape the streak of bad press and has retreated to the peace and quiet of her family's lake house in Vermont. She happens to have a pair of binoculars, and she is spending her time spying on her neighbors. And they are a beautiful couple. She really enjoys watching them, and one day she saves the woman from drowning, and the two strike up a conversation and start to get a friendship with one another. The more they get to know each other and the longer she spies on them, She learns that their marriage isn't exactly what it appears. So then the wife goes missing, and the woman who's been spying on them immediately suspects the husband of foul play. And what she doesn't realize is there's more to the story than meets the eye. Okay, so this is the last book that I got in the mystery thriller section. This one is a very more dark mystery thriller, The Silent Patient. I know this is a fairly popular one. I've seen it at Barnes & Noble a lot, and I just read it and I thought, I read what it's about and I just knew I was going to be interested. So basically it's about a woman whose life appears to be perfect, and then one evening when her husband comes home from work, she shoots him 5 times in the face and then never speaks another word. Because she is being so quiet about it, she is turning a domestic tragedy into something far grander, and it's a mystery that captures the public imagination and casts her into notoriety. The price of her art skyrockets. She's an artist, and she, the silent patient, is hidden away from the tabloids and spotlight at a secure psychiatric unit. And there's a criminal psychotherapist who is very excited to work with her. He is determined to get her to talk and unravel the mystery of why she shot her husband. It says it's a shocking, thought-provoking, and deeply twisted, spellbinding psychological thriller about violence, obsession, and the dark side of possession. So next up we have the historical fiction category. So I have 2 books in this. So one of them is Malibu Rising. They're actually both by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I have The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo and Malibu Rising. So I'll go through this one first. So it's based in Malibu in August of 1983. It's about an end of summer party and about a family who is very well known, famous, and it sounds like the whole book is just about one party specifically, and the secrets that the family has all rising to the surface. It's a story about one unforgettable night in the life of a family, the night they each have to choose what they will keep from the people who made them and what they will leave behind. So this, I think, is going to be, just looks like such a summary book, and since it's about a pool party, I'm definitely going to read this by the pool, because why not? That literally sounds great. This is the other book by her. I already read this book, but I wanted to buy it because I loved it so much. Like, I probably could have rated this 6 stars. Like, I rated it 5 stars. I was obsessed with this book, and I still am. I'm sure I'll read it again someday, which is why I bought it. It is about a woman who was an actress, and she lived kind of a scandalous life, a very secretive life, but people thought that they knew all they wanted to know about her. She had 7 husbands, and basically this story is talking about her life, and she's finally getting to share her side of it by her own choice, and she does it in a very unique way. And it's super interesting book. It's like a medium-paced book, I would say, but it's really enough to keep you into it the whole time still. There's like multiple different things that happen. It's very emotional, kind of sad a little bit. It has some romance. Like, it's just truly a beautiful book. I know, excuse me, I'm out of focus. I know that this book is so popular, and it's so popular for a reason. So like, if you've been thinking about doing this, but you're like, everybody loves it, do it. Like, you will not regret it, I promise you. Okay, the next category we have is horror fiction / kind of mystery. I only have 1 book in this. I'm afraid that horror would scare me too much, but I'm intrigued because I do like mystery thriller, dark, adventurous, emotional, those types of books. I do like lighthearted, romancy books too, but more so I like the darker style of books. So this just sounded really interesting. It literally looks kind of scary also. So this is Voices in the Snow. So it's about a woman who sounds like she got in a car accident, but she doesn't really remember much. She remembers a few little details, such as she remembers being in the cold. She remembers children's toys being littered across the road. She remembers dark shapes in the snow, and then nothing. And then when she wakes up, she is in a stranger's gothic home, and he tells her that she was in an accident. He claims that he saved her, and she wants to leave, but a vicious snowstorm has blanketed the world in white, and it has trapped them together. So basically she can't leave. And at first the stranger seemed kind, but over time she doesn't think that she trusts him. She starts to see and hear things that convince her something else is creeping about the surrounding woods, watching and waiting for them. She is feeling claustrophobic. She is feeling like she's being hunted, and she is on edge. She starts to realize her car crash probably wasn't an accident. Something was waiting for her to step outside, and she had a very uneasy feeling about it. So Sounds scary. Now we are into the contemporary fiction section. The first book in this section that I got is Amazing Grace Adams. This is also one that I got from a free little library. It's a fairly short book. It's just like around 250 pages, I think. So it's pretty short. As you can see, it's just not very big. It's a super cute cover. So it's about a woman, Grace Adams, who gives birth to her daughter, and then all of a sudden she realizes she's no longer in her 20s. She all of a sudden feels like she is old. She is not herself anymore. Her life isn't what she wanted. Her daughter doesn't want her to come to her birthday. Her and her husband are getting a divorce. Like this is not the life she imagined for herself. So one day she finally snaps and she simply just gets out of her car and she walks away. So Grace sets off to London to see her daughter, who is living with her husband. And this is the day she wants to remind them of who she is, who she used to be. She doesn't want to be the person that she is right now, and she wants to show them that she can change and that the old her is still there. It says that today is the day she'll remind her daughter that no matter how far we fall, we can always get back up again. So it basically sounds like it's a story about a woman who has a story of redemption and discovery and a powerful celebration of the fact that behind every ordinary woman is an extraordinary one. Next up is The Wishing Game. I already read this book on the Kindle app, but I loved it so much. It just really held my heart so much. It was so sweet. It's definitely an emotional / adventurous book. It has just a really fun story to it. So it's basically about a woman who grows up without parents who loved her. She grew up in a home with neglect and loneliness. And then she finds these books when she's a kid, and it's called Clock Island by Jack Masterson. And then at 26 years old, she is a teacher's aide, and so she's able to share her love of reading with the students. And then one of her students is an orphan who she becomes really close to, and she wants to adopt him. And their relationship is so beautiful. She showed him these books as well, and he has fallen in love with them as well. Lucy's about to give up because she can't afford to adopt him or even foster him. Jack Masterson, the author of those books, announces that he's finally written a new book and he's holding a contest at his home on Clock Island. And Lucy is one of the 4 contestants who is chosen to complete and win the only copy. For her to win the book means everything to her, because that means she could sell the rights and she could finally adopt the son that she's wanted to have. And it definitely has a twist ending that you wouldn't expect. Some people maybe expected it. I did not expect it. It was just a beautiful story and it was really sweet. Next up, we have 1 Year of Ugly. And this is more of like an emotional, humorous book. It's actually from the Denver Public Library. I don't know how well you can see. My light's like, it literally is like crossed out, and it has it on the side. It says inside, no longer property of Denver Public Library. So it's kind of funny. It has like the cover over it, the plastic covering that libraries put over it. So this is about a family who has escaped their crumbling country, the illegal route, and they're finding their way under the radar onto a sunny Caribbean island. And then their aunt, who has gotten them into this mess, she passes away, and the whole family discovers that she had been keeping one hell of a secret. She was seriously in debt to a local criminal called Ugly, a debt that is now theirs to repay. But of course, one of the women in the family has now fallen in love with one of the people from Ugly's crew, and basically needs to decide where their loyalties lie. So I think that that's going to be a really fun book. And then the last book that we have in the contemporary fiction section is No Safe Secret. This is another one that I got in the free little libraries. This is a romance / mysterious kind of sad book, apparently. It also looks like it's a pretty short book. Look at the author with her dogs on the back. That is so cute. So this book is about a woman who basically seems like she has a wonderful life, at least on the surface. Like from the outside, people are like, wow, this lady's got it all. She is married to a beautiful man. She is a top cosmetic dentist. She has a beautiful daughter and twin stepsons, like all these beautiful things. She lives in a great place in Massachusetts. But secretly, nobody really knows what living with Tanner, her husband, is really like. People know even less about the life that she left behind in Florida almost 2 decades ago. So back when she lived in Florida, Molly is the main character. She was living with her twin brother and neglectful mother in a rundown trailer park amid the orange groves of Florida. After the terrible events of her high school prom night and the act of vengeance that followed, she fled north and reinvented herself, but the veneer of Molly's polished existence is finally cracking. As secrets old and new are revealed, Molly must face painful truths and the choices she made in their wake and find the strength to become the woman she once hoped to be. Okay, so now we're into like the fantasy sci-fi section. So this one though, I realized it's beyond the ice limit. I got this in a free little library. It sounded like a good book. I realized it's the 4th book in a series when I started looking it up. And I don't know if I care enough to read this whole series, at least not right anytime soon. I have like way more series that I want to read right now. And so I'm not sure if I'm going to keep this one or if I'm going to end up putting it in a free little library again. But it does still sound interesting, so I'm not sure yet. So I'll tell you guys what it's about. So it's a mysterious book about a man who has to lead a mission to recover a gigantic meteorite, the largest ever discovered, from a remote island off the coast of South America. The mission ended in disaster when their ship foundered in a vicious storm in the Antarctic waters and broke apart, sinking along with its unique cargo to the ocean floor. 108 crew members perished, and Eli was left paralyzed. But that was not all. The tragedy revealed something truly terrifying. The meteorite they tried to retrieve was not, in fact, simply a rock. Instead, it was a complex organism from the deep reaches of space. So now that it has implanted itself into the sea 2 miles below the surface, it's growing, and if it's not destroyed, the planet will be doomed. And there is only one hope for him and his team to annihilate it, a task which he now has to do on his own. It does sound like a good book, but because it's a 4th in a series, and I'm probably not going to get to it literally maybe not even this year of 2024, which is fine. I just might decide to like give it back to somebody, put it in a free little library. Somebody else could enjoy this that maybe has read the other books. And then if I want to read it someday, I can always go back and get it. But I thought this is still a fun book and I wanted to show you guys. Okay, so the last book that I have to show you guys is the only nonfiction book that I got. I generally like to read fiction books only, but I decided to get this nonfiction book because it just sounded really good. It's a nonfiction LGBTQIA+ memoir manifesto, and it's more of a young adult book. It is All Boys Aren't Blue, and this book truly sounds amazing. Like, I'm not someone who reads nonfiction, and the fact that I got it, I feel like tells me that it's probably going to be a good book. So it's written by George Matthew Johnson, and he is a prominent writer and LGBTQIA+ activist. And in this book, he shares both glorious and gut-wrenching memories of growing up Black and queer in America. He started with getting bullied at age 5, to visiting flea markets with his loving grandmother, to the thrilling frontiers of first relationships, and basically just all the different experiences that he had in his early life. Then he eventually turns his passion into exploring intersectional identities to his own life by weaving questions of gender, masculinity, brotherhood, family, and Black joy throughout his stories. He poses the same question to the reader and invites us to consider what social influences have governed our own lives. This book is a reassuring testimony for queer men of color, and they are equal parts to a whole and perfectly designed person. You can't even see me. I'm trying to show you all the books together. Here. Can you see that? So here is all the books. I hope that you have enjoyed this video. It has been so fun to film it for you guys, and I thank you so much for watching. I hope you're doing well, and that you take care. Bye.